mean so much to me. All those years ago, when I was very young, I was being raised by my father's mother, my grandmother, in Stamps, Arkansas, a town about the size, well, maybe almost the size of this auditorium. Mama was raising me, I was 3, and my brother was 5. And then when we were 7 and 9, we were picked up and taken to St. Louis to my mother's people, back to her. And we were really trying to learn to be city kids because, I mean, they ate things like liverwurst, and my mother's people would and very fast. And Mama, my grandmother in Arkansas, talked like that. And that's the way people talk to talk. I thought. So we got there and we were trying our best, but I'm sorry to say my mother's boyfriend raped me. I told the name of the rapist to my brother, against my better judgment. I told him, if I tell you, he will kill you. He told me he would kill you. He was 9. He said, I won't let him. So I said, okay. So I told him, and he told the family. The man was put in jail one day and released the next day. And about 3 days later, the police came to my mother's house, where Bailey and I were, my brother and I were. And he said the man had been found dead, and it seemed he'd been kicked to death. I heard it. It was in my earshot. I thought the man had been killed by my voice. So I stopped speaking. From 7 to 13. I refused. People didn't know. My mother's people did their best to woo me away from my mutism, but they didn't know what I knew. I knew my voice could kill people, just randomly. So after a few months, my mother's people sent me back to Mama, my grandma, in Stamps, Arkansas. And Mama, I'd love you to see Mama. You know, she was tall. She was taller than I, and I'm 6 foot. And when she died, she was over 6 foot. So she must have been about 6'2" or 3. And she spoke very softly, except in church, where she sang and the windows would rattle. And people would get happy, and about every once a month, some woman would just jump up and take a whole person and throw it at the preacher. The mama would braid my hair the way old black ladies still braid girls' hair. I'd sit on the pillow on the floor. Mama would sit down into a chair, pull up her dress down, and we both look out. I'd clamp my arms on her thighs, because my hair was huge and very curly. And so Mama had her work cut out for her. She put her hand like that and put it behind my neck, so she wouldn't break my neck by accident. And she started brushing all this hair. She said, Sister, Mama don't care what these people say about you must be an ignorant, you must be a moron, you must be an idiot. Mama don't care. Mama knows, sister, when you and the good Lord get ready, you're going to teach. You're going to be a teacher. You're going to teach all over this world. I just sit there and think, this poor ignorant woman. Doesn't she know I would never speak? You know, I thank Mrs. Phillips. I thank Mrs. Miller so much for her introduction to friendship, using friendship, and her introduction of me. Quite often people start to say what I have done, and they take up all the time I want to spend with the people, and people want me. But you know, I'm the Reynolds professor at Wake Forest University. I'm a Chuck Fellow at Yale and on the board of Harvard Library. I have 64 doctorates. I want you to know what I'm saying. I think my last was from Columbia University of New York and Morehouse Medical School in Atlanta. if I hadn't started saying, didn't my Lord deliver Daniel? You could think I was bragging. The truth is I speak a number of languages. I've been translated in Yugoslavia, in Serbo-Croat. I teach in French and Spanish. And English. Just imagine though. But look, if I thought it was all me, there'll be something. I had so many rainbows in my clouds. I've had so many people who delivered me. Some I didn't know, some white ones, some black ones, some Asian ones. People who just said, I believe you can do it. Come here, honey. Come here a minute. You don't have to walk like that. You don't have to talk like that. Come here, baby. Come here. You see, teaching. So when I think of Mama and all the, when I went back to Mama, and there was a black lady in my town, I called her Miss Culture Lady. She's in every race, sometimes in every neighborhood. I don't know why, but if she's black and in the South, she speaks with falsetto. Hello, darling. Some white women too. Hello, dear. I don't know why, but Miss Culture Lady would rehearse the children in Stamps, Arkansas at the social Sunday. And the children would rehearse, and finally Miss Culture Lady would get up, this is once a year, and say, and now, little Mr. Phillips will render his rendition. Oh, little Mrs. Philipina will render. And the child would get us ready, rehearsed to death. And the child at the church. What you looking at me for? I didn't come to stay. I just come to tell you. This is and some kind old man or woman in the church would say, Christmas, honey. And I say, Christmas Day. They get off the platform and all the old people say, didn't he do nice? And this time, Mrs. Flowers, my culture lady, knew I loved to read. She took me to the black school. It's the only school I could go to. She took me there, and she took me to the library. There may have been 200 or 300 books. 1/3 of the books I have in my library. Of the books I've read and go to read in other libraries, I thought it was every book in the world. She said, I want you to read from A to BR and make notes. And then from BR, I want you to read from BR to CR. I read every book in the library. I don't say I understood all that much, but I read the books. And she would take me up to her house about once a year. And she'd make tea cookies and lemonade. My grandmother would let me put on another dress, not a church dress, not a Sunday dress, but a nice dress. And Mrs. Flowers would read to me. But when I was 12, she said to me, you do not love poetry. And I had a little tablet that Mama had already cut a little groove in a number 2 pencil, put a string in it, and a string in the spiral of the tablet. I wrote, yes, ma'am. She wouldn't even look at my tablet. And then she did worse. She pointed.